Fortress Maximus is a nobody character. Look at this big doofus with his big stupid torso and dumb stupid multicolored pride flag ass color scheme. He's so lame. He only appeared for like one episode in G1 and he did beat up Scorponok, but it was only because he had a dumb little human controlling him on the inside. What a loser. What a freak. What a dumb idiot bad character. Get out of here. Anyway, let me talk about why I love Fortress Maximus so much. James Roberts, a British writer with big biceps, wrote my favourite comic book of all time, More Than Meets the Eye. More Than Meets the Eye's greatness is something I'd love to go in depth about one day. But the short of it is that James Roberts crafted this relatively small-scale story that expands into a galaxy-spanning quest full of iconic moments, unforgettable locations, and memorable characters. More Than Meets the Eye's premise of taking minor, relatively unknown characters and putting them front and center was a stroke of genius. It would have been really easy to just have this be like Rodimus Prime and Bumblebee and Ultra Magnus and RC and Starscream or whatever. It was a risk to have very few established characters leading a comic like this, but it paid off. To so many people, James Roberts' interpretations of these characters have become the definitive edition of all of them. Like, when you think of Swerve, you're not thinking of this goober from G1, you're thinking of him. But one character, a complete nobody that not a single person ever cared for, has always stood out to me as being my absolute favorite example of James Roberts making something out of nothing. Yeah, it's Fortress Maximus. Why wouldn't it be? Are you dumb? Do I need to call somebody diva? Before Fort Max blossomed into the best character in IDW, in my opinion, he made a few small appearances in a couple of the Spotlight comics. It wasn't until Last Stand of the Wreckers that Fort Max got his first major role in a story. Fortress Maximus was appointed the warden of the Decepticon prison facility Garrus 9. Which seems kinda remarkably easy to break out of considering how many did so over the course of the IDW universe. Max's position was short-lived, as the Decepticon overlord invaded the prison, freeing everybody and essentially turning the complex into a giant amusement park of violence, with Fortress Maximus becoming the main attraction. Something Overlord and the rest of the freed prisoners tortured every minute of every day for 3 years, 2 months and 10 days straight. The Autobots were scattered far too thin to mount a rescue mission. They abandoned Fort Max and left him to rot in Overlord's care. Obviously, aside from the whole torturing thing, this pissed off Fort Max quite a bit. Fort Max was eventually rescued by the Wreckers and placed on robot life support, where he missed the rest of the war. And this is where our story really begins. Up to this point, Fort Max has been a loyal, stern, hardened soldier serving under the Autobots. He was created during the height of the conflict and was responsible for over 10,000 Decepticon kills. Fighting and hating the Purple Boys is all he's ever known. It's literally what he was made to do. He has guns in his leggies. So what happens when a killing machine outlives its purpose? What happens when a soldier forged in battle is left for dead by those who made him who he is? You get Fortress Maximus. He's reintroduced to us in the brilliant two-part story Life After the Big Bang. At an Autobot medical facility named Delphi, a plague is spreading, wherein anybody who catches it cries themselves to death. It's at this facility, which is completely wrecked and full of dead Autobots, where Fortress Maximus is being kept on robo life support while he's in a coma. Ratchet, Drift and Pipe stop by Delphi upon getting a distress signal, finding my blorbo scrunkly dunkly little guy First Aid. I know I said Fort Max was my fave, but First Aid's pretty good too. While he's being held up here, First Aid's been developing a treatment to jumpstart coma patients. His theory is quickly put into action as 2 Decepticons invade the facility, and First Aid is forced to reawaken Fortress Maximus from his coma. For the first time in 5 years, Fortress Maximus is free. He's been tortured, brutalized, ripped apart and put back together again by the Decepticons. So these 2 Decepticons, the ones right in front of him, they're so screwed. He brutally rips one apart and crushes the other's head in his giant boob, only calming down when Ratchet talks to him. I think this is a really interesting moment of clarity for Fort Max. We've heard all these stories about how he's a hardened, fearless soldier. He killed 10,000 Decepticons in one battle, but for one brief moment, Fortress Maximus is just like, yeah, I need to chill out. For me, this is where his character arc truly begins. This brief interaction with Ratchet is our first hint that Fort Max isn't the mindless killing machine so many believe him to be. He's so much more than that, which is explored in the next story, Interiors. Fort Max gets assigned to the Lost Light's therapist, Rung, to undergo a psychological evaluation after, being tortured for 3 years straight and then being kept in a coma for 2 more. It doesn't go well and Max snaps, taking Rung and Well hostage and demanding the Lost Light taken back to Cybertron so he can confront Prowl about why he didn't take the chance to save him from Garrus. Maximus is on a ship surrounded by Autobots and Decepticons alike. Killing Decepticons is all he's ever known, and now he's got to live alongside them? Act as if everything's okay? He's without a purpose, and he's hoping that by confronting Prowl he'll find one. This is a great issue, showing just how broken Fort Max really is. It's here that we get a better understanding of Fort Max's psyche, and learn that he's really just looking for answers. While Max doesn't exactly make peace with everything by the end of the issue, he's able to take his first steps into forgiveness. After this, we continue to see Max grow, slowly falling back into trusting the Autobots to the point that he's eventually promoted to the prestigious position of the duly appointed enforcer of the Tyrus Accord. Rung is by no means a great therapist, but Maximus trusts him enough to open up about how he's anxious he'll have another breakdown without him. The once bold, stick-up-his-ass Autobot brute finds himself able to comfortably share moments of weakness with someone who, at one point, would have been considered completely disposable. Fortress Maximus was a traumatized war hero who overcame all the odds and found peace in a quaint life with his friends on the planet Luna 1. His whole character arc is about making peace. He makes peace with the Autobots, Prowl, and the Decepticons that he calls his friends. Under that hard metal shell, he's got a heart of gold, one that truly cares for the universe and those who inhabit it. He can and will kick ass if he needs to, but as we see towards the end of IDW, it almost seems like a last resort. Fort Max's character journey is one all about forgiveness. He goes from a completely broken, lost soul trying to find a reason why the years of torture fell on him to endure, to somebody who found a new purpose helping those who can't fight for themselves. That's why Fortress Maximus is my favorite character. It's a classic with great power comes great responsibility trope. He's not as iconic as Optimus Prime, but he's just as heroic in his own regard. I really feel like where we left him in IDW, there was still so much more potential for him to blossom and grow and develop into something truly special. He's over his traumatizing experience on Garrus 9, yes, but Overlord is still out there. Overlord's defeat at the end of Requiem of the Wreckers at the hands of Springer never felt truly satisfying to me. Springer's an enemy of Overlord, sure, but Fort Max is set up as being his arch enemy. They're reflections of each other, complete opposites who are both alike in so many ways. The stage was set for a final confrontation between the two, and it never happened. They had a fight once, and that was it. I will forever be super salty about that. Fort Max can get my shaft any day of the week. Nobody else's. This big-titted, gun-legged, animal-loving, sweet-cheeks buff motherfucker is mine. He's a wood. I would do so many things with him, I would eat the skin off of a European turtle dove. Also, he's buff. I think I mentioned that. An artist on Tumblr called PhilSicTonics called me out for it at the TFCon YouTubers panel. But for the longest time, it's been IDW Fort Max, because he's just a cool guy. I don't know.
Is that the only reason?
Well, there's no particular reason. There's not, and the person asking, it's not. No, it's because the person asking the person.